Welcome to the Chill with Phil weekly podcast. Everything about e-commerce, digital marketing, growth hacking, strategies, and more. If you're passionate about these topics, you will definitely want to hang out with us the next hour. Now, here's your host, Phil Kyprianou.
Hey guys, welcome to the Chill with Phil podcast, special edition of Shopify Unite 2019. This podcast is sponsored by MXO Agency. If you're selling online or looking to start selling, MXO Agency offers a variety of services to help you bring your project to reality. From developing your store to increasing your sales from zero to multiple figures, MXO Agency has the team and expertise to take your dream to reality. So contact us now on mxo.agency. Guys, just doing a quick recap of how the day, everything happened. So I arrived on Monday, and Monday was crazy in Toronto. I mean, it was totally insane. There was about like 2 million people down there. People were just like happy, celebrating for the Raptors win, going down. And basically the city, the whole city was totally blocked out. Couldn't get, anywhere. I mean, I just arrived just before everything was blocked. So I was very lucky, but my apartment here in Toronto was not available until 4 o'clock. So I had to jump into some great friends of mine. And I passed like the whole day there jamming about e-commerce because they were also e-commerce guys. So we exchanged a lot of information. We had great time, new strategies and things like that. Until 4. So at 4, I took like the Uber and everything was finally great. Sadly, there was a gunshots and that spread out like people out of the city. So that basically like changed the whole thing. Basically sad thing to start the week. Hopefully like people there were not armed. I've seen like there was 2 people dead. So that's pretty sad thing there to start the week. My prayers are all with these people and family, that's for sure. So arrived in Toronto, got the whole day like with my friends, came back to the apartment. It was finally ready. Then jumped on an event held by Bold Commerce and Avalera, if I remember. Amazing event. Thank you very much also for Bold Commerce getting in and received us like properly. It was amazing time. They talked about also, there was like a mini session talking about the checkout and new ways that you will be able like to integrate things in this checkout. So they were already knowing insights that will be unveiled like today. That has been basically unveiled like today at the Shopify event. And great stuff. There's another app company that I've met called Rise.ai. Some sort of loyalty program kind of cards where you can get like a lot of people, let's say like Air Miles. If you know Air Miles, when you have like points, you can have access to multiple merchants and you can exchange that basically those points can be exchanged for products. And they are building that ecosystem tied to merchants, tied to the Shopify ecosystem. So that's very interesting. Then what happened? I mean, we got like this time, finally, I was like very burnt out of the day, got back at the apartment. Then the second day was registration time, so got at the registration early in the morning, 9 o'clock, met a bunch of people as well. Came back to the apartment, worked on my stuff, daily stuff that I had to do for business. And back then at night, again, like 5 to 8, another amazing event by Just Uno and Octane.ai. They, again, like just welcomed us like greatly. Great place was at the Drake Hotel. Talked again to a bunch of people, made new connections. So that's really what I like about these events is like we are all day behind our computers talking to people, but that's the one time of the year, let's say at the Shopify event, if you're not going to other events, where you can actually meet people in person, build relationships, relationship and see, what's behind, this, or what's the culture behind, what are the people behind these great apps company or great partners or great builders or business owners. So that's always like fascinate me, all these people from where they're coming from and what they've built and where they're going at. So I really enjoy like talking and learning more about these people. So getting into Shopify Unite and how things really are changing. So today was the big day, basically, where everything or most of the thing happened. Tomorrow, I will do another podcast about it. It's going to be like the recap part 2 of the Shopify Unite. And today we went deeply about, on some section, but overall, they announced like a bunch of stuff. So the day again started at 9 o'clock, got like a very nice, cute continental breakfast with a bunch of pastries, coffee and things like that. And again, networking, seeing people from the other night, making links here and there and making sure that, that we are all on the same page. So that's one thing that I've really enjoyed with the Shopify community is everything is seems to be like tight, and people enjoy also doing relationship between apps, building partnership between all these apps and this ecosystem. So it's very, very, very cool. I was like a month ago at the Magento event, and I couldn't feel that type of aura, let's say, that type of people that were almost like bros, So it is very, very different. And for sure, the Shopify ecosystem is probably smaller and it's younger than Magento or other big companies out there that have been doing that forever, like WooCommerce. But I really enjoy doing that, and you see that everyone is very interested by the others also, something that sometimes we don't find. And really enjoy. People were super happy. Actually, when you got in, you got a registration. They were giving you, a bunch of swags. I took a picture about it. I think I have like a bottle of water here. They were giving like this very nice water. I'm not sure if you see that. T-shirts that you can customize. What else? Pins also, like my things right here, right there. And a pen here because it's my first year, but you could see like people that were there for 4 years, they got like their own red pin. And sadly, I couldn't be like last year. I really wanted to do it to go, but it was not possible. But this year, I'm there and trying to get as much as possible from all this event. So basically, what we got today is totally amazing. I'd never seen something like that before, where a company announced so many updates, like crazy amount of updates and things that have been in the pipeline like almost forever, that every merchant we're actually wishing for, and same thing for app developers. And basically, there's a lot of stuff that are going to change the game. We are, at the agency, we're used to work a lot with Magento stores because people that are asking for Magento stores things that you can do a lot of things. It's very malleable. You can go in the code. It's open source. You have a very wide amount, big amount of developers that are there, been there forever. They know the things. But I can tell you, Shopify is getting there. They're opening their APIs. They're opening a bunch of things that will totally change again. And you can see in a couple of years that it's going to be totally modular. So from whatever you want to do, you will be able to do it without breaking the core. And that's basically one thing that is very important there, is you need to have something that is very stable at the center and the rest can be built around it, instead of each time like Magento or other e-commerce stores, let's say like other platform, that each time they're doing an update, they almost break everything. And that's one thing Shopify wants to make sure that doesn't happen, and also want to make sure that when it evolves at a good pace. And that's one thing we've seen is they are going to do quarterly updates that will help also to keep up the beat and keep the momentum, and also make sure that you're always up to date, but also without breaking the things. So they make sure that each time there's a new thing, they don't just throw up things like that for fun. That is going to be well served, and also that is going to be used. Okay, so it's not about like fancy thing. They want to make sure that things are going to be used at the first place, and when the demand is getting there, they're introducing stuff because it really makes sense. And a lot of people, I know, I mean, I've been like part of them, like always asking, why is this? Why we're not getting that? And things like that. And it all makes sense at the end, because when Shopify was created at a certain point, there was all these needs, and they need to make a lot of big change and logical change behind this. So it could make more sense when it is applied and available basically for the people. And so we're going to go anyway on the updates. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. So you're going to understand way better the change and what is happening right now on Shopify. So basically one thing that is going to come is on the online store. Okay, this is going to be a major big upgrade there, because all the theme now will have what they call sections. You already know about sections. Sections are like some sort of a field there that you can add more stuff, but now it was limited. Mostly, if I remember, on the home page. You cannot do that elsewhere, or moving section elsewhere, or you were limited by the numbers of section you could add and things like that. So now what they're going to do is they're going to add this feature across all pages in the theme, and even it's gonna come outside of the theme, like in blog section, page inside the page, you're gonna get section everywhere. Okay, so that's gonna be very, very, very useful, and I'm gonna tell you a bit the reason why of that. Then there's gonna be like that master page. Master page basically is like a big template that lives alone, but when you make change, you can make change across multiple pages, so it doesn't break, or you don't need to rewrite stuff every time. So a master page, and it's like a main template, let's say. So the main template, you can create multiple main template as well for different part of the site. So you could have a main template for collections, or you can have like main templates for blogs or things like that. So they call it like the master page. Then after that, one thing that I think is a very, very big game changer is what they call the app section. When sometime, I mean, you're using an app like a review app or anything like that, or even like a counter into a time counter into your page, or anything like that you want to add on. Most of the time, like the app's developer needs to inject code, or you need to do it yourself. Now it's going to be as easy as drag and drop. You're going to add that feature, almost like again, drag and drop into the page builder inside. And you're going to be able to choose your app. So it could be like whatever, thing you want there that has like this feature that is compatible there, like a review, or like I was saying, like time counter, or anything else that needs to be shown there. It's going to be as simple as a drag and drop. We are getting very near something like a real page builder. That's one thing I can see, and I'm pretty sure that probably within 2 or 3 years, people will be will be able to change almost anything as they want by blocks or by module on their site. That's going to be super helpful, because each time you want to make a change right now, or very hard change or deep change into the theme, you need to have a coder. Or when you have like some sort of, time, limited time change, like for a special event or anything like that, sometimes you cannot do that in theme. You need to do that by code, and with a new feature that they call draft, it's something that is going to be, you're going to be able to change. So with this new draft option, you are going to be able to make the change, save it in draft, and when you're ready to put it online, it's going to be like a click of a button, and it's going to be online right away without breaking anything in your site while it's in draft, Or you don't even need now to duplicate your site, your theme anymore to make change. You could put everything on draft, then push stuff live when you're ready to go. So that's another layer that you're gonna get, and that's gonna offer again much more flexibility. So quick example, if you want to do like a special banner for Black Friday, you can prepare that in advance. Then on the Black Friday day, you could have it live, but it was on draft just before, things like that was hard to do before. What else? They're gonna have what they call content portability. Okay, that means, and that's a big thing, because if you're in the theme, and I've done that for myself, for clients, and a bunch of people, and I can tell you that is a pain in the bip. Exactly, because each time basically that you want to update your theme, so you're downloading like the latest version of, I don't know, like let's say Turbo theme. Now they're at 4.1.3. But let's say that you were at 3 and you want to go with the big upgrade. What's happening with the big upgrade right away? You need to redo every changes, every content, every text, everything on the slider, every image, and all this kind of thing. That's going to be something from the past, because with content portability, all the information, all the assets from the past update will be staying there. So as soon as you update your team to a new version of your team, or even a brand new team, something that doesn't have anything to do with what you have, you will be able to transfer that information instantly into the new team and to arrange that in a fashionable manner so it looks good after, but you don't have to rewrite or rechange things in the code or all this kind of thing. That's going to be time saver. I can tell you right away about that. All this kind of stuff will be available probably around later this year. There's going to be like the section API that is already available now for the developers in the preview mode, so they can already test, play with that. And it's gonna take a bit of time from developers to adapt like these section stuff and all this new thing, because imagine, the numbers of teams. Like if you take out of the sandbox there, they have multiple teams, so they need to re-update all their teams. And they're probably gonna start with some of their most popular one, and then they will implement others after. So you can see probably a whole year or probably even more until all this thing is gonna be available for real. It's a bit sad, but it's part of the game, because this is a huge game changer, and this will help basically will help to bring much more feature that will resemble or will be similar to what they have, because they had to rewrite a bunch of stuff in the code. Now, what else they announced? They're going to support new media type natively, so we can think about video gallery, 3D support. So these kind of stuff were not part of, even if they were advertised, you always needed to have like some sort of third-party app to implement it, tweaks in the code and things like that. That's something that is part from the past. Now you can update a 3D object inside, and you can, it will render right away. It will use like all the kit, the SDK kit that is part inside it, and it will just support it right away. There's nothing that you need to do special. You just need to upload in the right format. Same thing for video. And it's going to be basically the first native 3D platform available for e-commerce. So there's no platform that offers right now a native integration with 3D stuff, and they are going to be the first. So that's going to be a game changer. We've seen like some example with the trawler. I've talked to the guys in charge of the 3D. I've talked about my project, about the rings, and that we're doing, like all the jewelry there that we're doing, and they told us how it's going to be. We just need to upload in the right format that they gave us, and from there it's going to be super easy. Now if we want to have like something like much more complex, so if you put a ring on a finger or a shoes on your feet, you will need like probably to develop a separate app, but still you will be able to use that technology behind that will support like that 3D. So there's a lot of flexibility thing. I can probably see, probably not later this year, but next year or the other year, probably an API regarding that, because that's, again, it's going to be the people that are going to do 3D, they're going to be supported probably above what it is offered right now. So we can see that probably in the upcoming year coming. Now, probably the biggest announcement of today's event is about the checkout. I mean, I've been running the Shopify strategy, e-com strategy community since 2015. And one question that has been coming over and over was always about the checkout, how we can change it, how we can hack it, are we able to do upsell, subscription right inside, and all this kind of stuff. And finally, a couple years, somewhere like end of 2015, 16, there's like app companies that started to offer, third-party solution, basically that would solve part of the problem. But the solution was solving one part of the equation and not all the equation. And also there was some restriction on the checkout. So earlier this year or at the end of last year, if I remember, already Shopify released their checkout API that help in a certain way, but they have opened it to the next level this year. One thing they started with is to increase the performance of the checkout. So they started basically with reducing the latency by 20%. And we know how it's, when you're going on a checkout, I mean, that's probably one of the most important part of the experience. And if you're looking at the stats, there's a lot of people that soon as you go check out on Shopify, there's a delay that is happening there until you get into. That's the first part. Then after, when you're processing the payment, there's another delay happening. So once you're able already to improve these two parts, you're gonna get probably better. You're gonna get a better lift on conversion, because some people, like especially where connections are not very good. So let's say that you're in a place where you don't have Wi-Fi or LTE, you only have 3Gs. You might not get like the same experience at all. So it's very important to get like very fast checkout experience at that point. So basically they worked on that. That was part of their first concern. Then API. Then they added like the option to enable basically, first of all, subscription app, okay, directly into the checkout. So by giving access again to special API access, if I repeat myself. So this will help like Recharge. Recharge is one of their first integration partner there, where if you have like a supplement business or anything like that, like a box in a month or anything like that, you could directly go and do the subscription directly from the checkout, from the original Shopify checkout. So this, what is happening is it's reducing also the friction for customers, because they don't have to get out of Shopify, get to another app, and get the subscription there. So there is plenty of great checkout solution out there, but sometimes there's always a delay between pushing to the other app and coming back. But now by integrating directly with the API, that's going to change totally the whole thing. Now, the other thing also they talked about about upsell. So you're going to be able like to do upsell. Now, how this upsell, because that's the question I got like today when I posted like a screenshot of my notes, is like, how are you going to do the upsell? It is a bump, it is post upsell, it is upsell at the moment, and they didn't complete like the purchase. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have any details. They didn't talk about it. Hopefully tomorrow, I think there's a workshop about the checkout. So I'm going to be there, and I'm going to make sure that I get the answer for that. And if not, I mean, I will try to follow up with the dev team and see how this is going to change. But I'm pretty sure that That's going to change a lot, especially for apps that are trying to mimic or trying to get another solution that is working but could be even better. I think that by enabling like this API and this possibility will open a totally new world for this apps and this solution out there. So I think this is going to be something big. When it's going to be available, I don't know, because it didn't give like a clear release date on that. I can expect that like somewhere in fall or probably early 2020. But basically, probably even like they will roll this out earlier to Shopify Plus merchants than later on to everybody. Now, what's next? We're talking about custom storefront tools. Okay, so basically there's a new API that they call Storefront API that helps you to do much more in terms of the information that you're playing with. So like meta fields, multi-currency, Shopify scripts for Shopify Plus merchants, and also outside customization. So you can see, or you will see, a huge shift. And we know how personalization and customization is huge right now and how it's going to grow. But we're going to see a huge shift in the way that customization is going to be done and how seamlessly it's going to be done because of the Storefront API. Much more possibility, less clunky. Because most of the Shopify apps right now that are available basically to do customization, personalization are okay, but they could be way better, especially with what they released. You can see that on a store called Inkbox. It's a store that basically offers personalized tattoos. And there's another one called NTWRK Network. And they're using a mix of the new technology that is available from Shopify Plus and their new iOS SDK for that. So I highly encourage at least to go and check them out, so you're gonna have a good idea of what is happening with that. Now, next, what do we have next? Okay, that's another big thing as well. We are talking about cross-border shopping. Okay, so we know that one of the biggest issue right now, and I've been talking, I had the opportunity to talk yesterday with the CEO of Printful, and he told me how things changed when they started just to charge in euros, because before all their pricing were in USD, and from merchants that are in Europe, paying in USD sometimes doesn't make sense, or sometimes they just have like better pricing depending on the country they are, and now they're able to change that in terms of multi-currency. So now it makes much more sense that everyone in each country should have access to their own language and own currency as well. So what's going on is the cross-border. So Shopify found out the same thing, so we all agree. And on my side, working with multiple stores that are multiple regions, multiple currency, multiple countries, it was always the big question: why should I go to Shopify? Shopify doesn't offer that natively. If you want to do it, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of that. You need to change the checkout and things like that. So basically now Shopify is enabling that with multi-language, multi-currency, all enabled in Shopify, not only in the back end, but in the front end as well. So wherever you are, and there's going to be like a couple new countries that they added like new currency and things like that. But now, if a customer wants to be charged in euro, they will be charged natively in euro. If they are in Canada, they can be charged natively in Canadian dollars. Same thing for multi-language now, because one thing they did is they create what they call the multi-language API and the Liquid API that will make it super easy as a developer on your end or for app developers to communicate and to push the information that needs to be changed for the right language that the store needs. So that will create, again, a seamless experience for customers that are shopping on these sites. This is a total, I can tell you, this is a total game changer. I'm talking to a lot on a daily basis, merchants from different places in the world. And I can tell you, when a store is in the original language country, on the original country language, if we can say that, and the good currency, you can see a lift, a crazy lift, and Shopify measured on their end a 60% lift after enabling, which means that there are much more people that are willing to do business with this store because it is in the right language and the right currency. All this is available today. So if you want to play with that for the multi-currency, you can go on the Shopify store, and I think there's an option. But the best thing is now it was available to Shopify Plus, but now it's all Shopify merchants have access to that. Okay, so that's a great thing. So you are able to go inside and change that and build. I didn't have the time to play with it, so I will not tell you how exactly it works. But later this week, I will go and play with that. And if you're an app developer that works with multiple language, or if you want to do it in store, an agency, development agency that does it for clients, check this out right now. That's gonna help you like crazy because that's what was one thing. Basically, one of our clients at a certain point, that was one thing that we were struggling. And apps there are good. We found a very good app partner now for multi-language. And I talked to them also yesterday, and I can tell you they're gonna be crazy happy for that, because right now there's a lot of manipulation that it's just not helping. I mean, that will save time. So next big thing, and that basically it's also huge, but much more for retailers, less for pure, let's say, online players, okay, online e-commerce players. So point of sales the numbers of merchants that are using Shopify point of sales have increased like crazy. They have over 1,000 merchants right now, and not small brand, but a lot of big brands. The adoption is getting great, and this part of the market is very small for them right now, and the possibility to extend and to expand is totally crazy. One thing is, it was great what they have developed, but they decided, based on the feedback they got, and especially from comparing to the other solution out there, that it was time to do a reformatting, let's say, of the old POS system. So they are basically, and that I think is going to be available very soon, but they have reimagined totally the old POS with the old workflow and the old system to make it much more easier and to get the learning curve faster for people that are entering or are using it, and to make the experience also for the customers much more seamless. So they're going to get much more aggressive in the space. You are going to be able to manage multiple locations, tracking inventory. They are releasing a new support for iPhone. So you are going to be able, because right now they only had iPad, but you are going to be able like to do the tap thing, the credit card chip, and not everything right away from the iPhone. You are going to be able also to do everything in terms of, ordering, doing the follow-up things on the POS, whatever it needs to be done directly there. They want to create like that kind of Apple Store experience with that new thing, okay? And even there, they want to be very close to the merchant that they are offering. Also, we're talking about customization, but they're going to customize your case with your own logo. You see how deep they want to be near and close to the merchants there. So that's totally amazing on that part. Now, you are going to be able also, because if you're having like this experience of POS and online business, you're going to have access to the same database. Everything's going to be centralized, but much more. You're going to be able to see recommended product based on past sales. So imagine if someone came one time on your store, online store, then came after that on your brick and mortar store, you are going to be still able to see what they bought there, or even what they bought previously on the brick and mortar, get all this data, and where they're going to go completing their order. I mean, as a salesperson, what you're going to say is hey, do you know that, by the way, we have this and that for you? You know, that will match perfectly with what you just bought. So that's going to change totally. I mean, that you can see already the kind of lift you can grab from that right away in terms of sales, and especially we know and we tend that when you are in store and you are buying something, if someone proposes you an upsell there's much more chance that you're going to buy it right away than if you were just at home and doing that on not on the spot, but on the internet, So you can see a lift there in terms of average order value. There's going to be also better reporting based on locations. There's going to be advanced search now that will be able to catch all the information from all the database that you get, so from all the warehouse that you get, and also from all the customers. So customers, everything's going to be centralized, and that's going to be also super cool there, because you're going to be able to see everything in real time. So if something, and it seems probably natural for you, you think like, okay, yeah, when I go to Jack and Jones, they know all this kind of stuff, but it was not possible before on the POS of Shopify, probably on the one that they use Jack and Jones or other retailer. But now they offer that because that was a big demand, and if they wanted to enter in the market being very competitive in terms of the features, they needed to get that basically. So that's one thing. Another thing. Now, one thing that I find, because I'm working on that case study right now for customers. So one thing that we've seen that is quite important, but they're bringing that with apps. So now you're going to be able to get apps inside the POS, and that's a totally game changer. And there's a reason for that. First of all, it's going to open the app ecosystem and app community to develop not only for the online store, but for the POS people. And one example that they've shown is about loyalty program. One of the biggest issues right now we have with some of our clients is like they have loyalty program working online, but is not working on the POS. They don't talk together. So let's say that you bought a bunch of stuff online, and what's going to happen? You want to get like that points. I mean, you already a loyal customers, and you're going into their brick and mortar store to buy something, but you cannot use their point. What's going to happen? It's a bad customer experience. So with that thing now, with apps that will be available, like most of the apps out there will do the transition, you will be able to have a seamless experience again for things like that. Same thing with coupon, gift cards, or anything that is related to that kind of thing. There's apps out there that even like will help you to manage your staff, count the hours they work, manage their time, and all this kind of thing. So it's getting to really to the next level. This will change the game in the POS ecosystem. I can guarantee. So they reimagined the whole e-commerce thing. They built something from scratch, new experience. There's going to be like a bunch of new stuff like camera scanning, probably NFC scanning at a certain point, because they enabled a bunch of APIs in the back that will help you to do better connection. Like I say, staff management system. One thing also that is cool, you buy online and you can come and pick up in store. That's a new feature that is going to be available also later this year. Now, on the merchant admin experience, I love this one. You know how painful it is to create all these rules for shipping? You have to go, if you're doing without apps, first of all, you have to either doing by price rule base, and then you have to do, or to do it by weight. That was the only possibility inside like Shopify before. Or you were going with an app like Better Shipping, that is great, working amazingly, and you had to use that third-party app to do it. But why an e-commerce store? I mean, it's basic. Shipping is one of the most important part of an e-commerce store. Why Shopify didn't do that at first? Yeah, I mean, it was probably complicated. There was like a lot of things going in the back that we don't know, basically. But they finally got that right. So now you are able to create shipping profile as assigned delivery rules, rate by product and location. What does that mean? What does that mean? Basically, why someone will pay a shipping price for the same shipping price for a t-shirt than for a big protein box or whatever. I mean, doesn't make sense. I would not pay like $10 for a t-shirt for shipping while this protein bottle cost me like $10 for shipping. So now you're going to be able to say, every t-shirt, let's say, will be $4.95 to ship, and all protein bottle will be $10 to ship, or any type of combination that will make sense. And above that, to make that much more easy for app developers, they have opened Fulfillment API. And Fulfillment API will not only let you do that, but Fulfillment API will work on the activity. The biggest pain point is to know where your product are. Where is my product? How many times have you seen that or hear that from customers? That's probably like the number one question. And sometimes it's hard because you don't have the visibility. And the visibility why you don't have it is because basically the fulfillment center or your third-party fulfillment or whatever is not able to send that information properly into Shopify. Now that change with the new Fulfillment API. You could custom almost any kind of step. In my case, that's going to be super useful because we have multiple steps in jewelry making. So we tried to mimic stuff until now based on days, but it was never precise. Now we could have like very specific triggers based when, let's say, the polishing part is done, when the setting is done, when it's going to go into, depending the courier that we're using to be sent. And all these steps will be now available, and we can use that back and push that and use it like, let's say, with email sequence, SMS sequence, and all this kind of thing, because it's going to be now totally transparent. Okay? Another thing that's probably one of the biggest ever update that everyone has been asking for 13 years. It seems to be so simple. It's editing orders. Editing orders, it was just not available. What was happening is you had to get an app. This app will basically duplicate the order, will kill the other order, will update the new order, will create a new order number, and could be like a total mess, So now, because of the new edit order function in Shopify, you don't need anymore to have any type of editing order software. You can do it right away. And if you are doing, and now this is where things is getting interesting, So if you have a checkout app, how checkout apps are working. So if you want to do an upsell, a post upsell, a post purchase upsell, so the whole transaction is completed, and now you want to offer something else, so you need to add this up. Before, it was a total mess also on the developer side to try to edit, push, and all this kind of stuff in the background, or wait all the information, then push it back, then to Shopify. But now with the API, order editing API, apps like checkout apps or OCU or cart hook or bold cashier can go directly back using the order API, edit the actual order with everything that is new. So let's say that each time that you buy this, you get this free. that will be super easy to do now. Or each time you're buying a bundle of this, you're getting this free. Or each time you want to buy this, you create a bundle. Or, you can see, it can go like crazy, the kind of stuff that you can do just because of enabling a function that seems to be so simple, but basically it was much more complicated than we all thought. Multiple rules can be done there. Like I was, post orders customization. What else they're adding? Extra 11 more language also in the backend. So I think Japanese now is going to be available, and a bunch of other languages that were not natively available on the backend merchant side. What else? Like I said, it's totally crazy the amount of updates that they are doing, and I'm not finished yet. I can tell you, I'm not finished yet. That's crazy. I'm gonna take just a sip of water here. So what's getting in? So I know that a lot of people here probably inside the group, but there might be a few that are using Shopify Plus. So there's going to be a brand new Shopify Plus, a totally revamped experience from A to Z. One of the most, I would say, thing that people were complaining about it, how basically it was complicated when you were a Shopify Plus and you had multiple stores to manage, how complicated it was to log into each store, copy things, copy configuration, copy theme, product synchronization, if I didn't tell that before, and all this kind of stuff. It was a really, really, really a hard time. So Shopify decided to create a totally new experience for the Shopify Plus user. That's totally brand new. It's not anything. It has anything to do with the dashboard that you're seeing for Shopify Merchant. Before, you couldn't see the difference. Everything was looking like the same. Now it's totally different. The dashboard is different. What you get at first is different. How you manage users is different. Everything basically is centralized and makes it easy to manage. Okay, everything can be seen in one shot. It's going to be easy adding new stores in a couple clicks, cloning new stores, or even syncing stores together. That's one of the biggest issue. If you want to sync products, update, and things like that, it's time consuming. It's not complicated, but it's mostly time consuming. They're going to add also a global user management system that will help a lot, especially when you have multiple people that are managing your stores, or you have multiple stores that needs different type of profile. Some stores you might want to give access to just one part of it for this specific user and things like that. Now you are going to be able to create profile based on whatever behaviors you want or whatever options you want and things like that. That's going to be very, very interesting. There's going to be really a limit in terms of, what they're trying basically to achieve is to cut the fragmentation across properties. Just to have this unified view will help a lot. Another thing also that is going to be a good update is if you were running multiple store again, there's Shopify Flow. So Shopify Flow, they generate about over 1.8 billion tasks across all the stores. So Shopify Flow is multiple hours saved basically for store owner that wants to simplify tasks. There's a lot of things that can be basically automated, and that's what Shopify Flow does. Now, Shopify Flow, the problem again, if you add the flow and you add 10 stores and you want to get this flows across 10 stores, you had to go manually and create that manually again. So now what they did is you're able to get or to use this exact flow and copy that across all stores, and you have also a templating function that you can use to create your basic flows and reuse it, tweak it, and resave it, and publish that across multiple flows. What else? There's gonna be templates of flow. Yeah, I've just talked about that. So that is basically for Shopify Plus. The app platform. So if you are an app developer, you're listening to that right now. I'm going to do a very basic recap on what we've seen. The app developer platform is getting easier in terms of building app for app builders. The goal here is to make it very simple and fast and efficient, because there were tasks like just like create a dummy store, like that was taking too long. And sometimes a dummy store is you need products as well, to upload and to test with, and that was a pain again for developers. So now they introduce a new command line interface. So everything like for developers is very useful. So like the old type of DOS, if you're not a dev, you're gonna see, they're gonna write like command lines directly into it, and this will create an action and will create like something that will be very easy for dev to use and to get things like I was saying, creating development stores without going into the partners section, Shopify partners, and create that manually and setting up. You can create like the templates. If I remember, you can create like fill the store with a bunch of product with a simple command line. So and that will simplify everything. The other thing also they did is they create like some sort of templates when you build app. So that will facilitate like the whole skeleton on how you should build app. Normally you have to create all the files manually, structure that by yourself and all this kind of thing. Now they're providing a whole skeleton of it, and that again will make it faster for developer to start working on, what else? Shopify will support Node and React. The whole command line tool will be open source, so they will be able like to tweak it or create stuff to make things faster for them. So even like probably create like their own command at a certain point. Now they're also looking to get apps much more embedded into Shopify, just to simplify the workflow and customer experience. They found out that customers, merchants doesn't really like necessarily to go out of Shopify when they're managing their stuff. So they're really trying to get that whole experience transparent and makes it better. There's going to be also a new SDK related to that. There's going to be a new tool called App Bridge, which is a library of code that will be available everywhere. So if you're building your own thing, you have like your own library and you need to share it across the board, that's with that new tool called App Bridge, it's going to be possible now. It will support NFC, barcode reader, context bar, product picker. So if you're building apps around that, you will get access to this. Now, what else? Making app faster. Okay, so that's another great thing, because the biggest problem right now is the numbers of API calls that you need to do when you want to have like to push stuff or access stuff from Shopify. Basically, it demands a lot. Each time that you have a command, basically what it does, it's calling the API. So it can be very slow. If you are doing like products, if you want like, let's say, doing like synchronization with another product database or synchronization with something, it can take like a couple of minutes when it could take a couple of seconds. So that's basically what happened with the new release of the GraphQL. GraphQL will help you to combine basically a bunch of call in a single one, which means that you should be able like to save much more time, because instead of calling, I don't know, like 400 calls, it could be all condensed in one call, which makes it much more efficient in terms of time. Then after that, you're going to get a meta fields access update through the GraphQL, delivery, profiles, and a bunch of stuff. There's a full documentation to learn it faster. They want to make sure that the dev goes into it to learn it as fast as possible, because faster they will do it, everybody is going to benefit from that, and the merchant first. Everyone wants to have faster apps, faster stuff going on. So that's for sure. And like I've said earlier, they're going to get API versioning every quarter. So much more consistent updates, and that will make the whole ecosystem evolve faster at the same time. What else? I mean, it's crazy the amount of stock. Like I was saying, I mean, it's just insane the amount of updates they announced today. Another one of the biggest, probably, again, is the Shopify Fulfillment Network. They want to simplify the life of hundreds of thousands of merchants, because yes, fulfillment is hard to manage, it's hard to deal with. Fulfillment house mostly ask for big commitment most of the time, especially if you have like multiple products and products doesn't have the same SKU and things like that, and they want to make it also cheap, affordable for everyone. So they created like that huge network of fulfillment house where everything's got to be managed from one central place into the Shopify ecosystem. And I've seen like a demonstration, and I can tell you, I've dealt with multiple type of warehouse, different type of technology. And first of all, most of the time they don't have like the connection. So you need to build them. And if they have it, sometimes it's clunky because it's not their main, they're not developers, it's not their main core business. So with that in mind, and getting that push to everyone, it's gonna be like almost like Amazon FBA, like fulfilled by Amazon system, where you just send your stuff. It's really a couple click, super simple. You choose your product, the amount that you're going to send there. You send it, creates the label. You send the stuff, and thank you very much. It's gonna be stored, and you're gonna be ready to ship in a couple days, soon as they receive stuff. Like almost as fast like that. It's totally insane how they restructure, they review everything to make it as simple as possible for users. So what their promise is really about fast delivery. It's 2-day shipping average. If you're starting tomorrow, I don't know exactly when it is going to be available, but as soon as it's going to be available, it's going to be like for people that are shipping 10 products per day up to 10,000. And within next year, the type of merchant that they're looking is from 3 products per day to 30,000. So imagine the capacity of shipping that the Shopify Fulfillment Network will have, because this is by a merchant per day. So totally insane, okay? So now what Shopify wants to do is to continue getting partnership. So if you're listening today and you have the capacity of fulfillment, I highly recommend you to go and check shopify.com/fulfillment. I think you can get in touch with them to tell them to come and see your fulfillment house and see if it respect their standards, so you can be part of their fulfillment program. What else? I would say that's basically it. I have like other notes there, much more in depth about the power of shopping, the new shopping experience. We're talking a lot right now about progressive web apps. That's a new trend. Everyone in the sphere is talking about that. Shopify doesn't want to put too much effort right now. It's part of their play, but they want to let like third-party app developers to play with it before and see what's going to be really the adoption. It is going to fit a lot of people, or it's just going to be fitting like certain type of merchant. It's still very new, and I totally agree there. You don't want to go full into a new technology that you don't know if it's going to work or not, or if there's any proof that will make a change, or things like that. The other thing also that we can see, and it's not yet there, but I can assume that voice shopping, part of the integration of Shopify channel, will come very soon. We know how it is increasing right now. They didn't unveil anything today. I don't know if they will unveil something tomorrow about that, but I'm pretty sure that's also part of their roadmap, and that will be integrated, if not again like this year, probably next year or near next year, 2020, 2021. I know, on the market, the adoption is growing. It's even like Google Home and Alexa are forcing the market to get into that at very cheap price to get like all their device, just like getting people more used to. What else? I can see that, I mean, they're on the good path globally. We could have doubt about where Shopify was going. And I think both on the investor side, because now, I mean, they're a public company, and as merchant and user, with all these updates, it proves how dynamic right now Shopify is about acquiring no new merchants, but serving properly new merchants. I think that's what they're investing, and how they put the emphasis also on their app developers to serve properly their merchant as well. It's all about that at the end, is the whole customer experience from the beginning to the end of the chain, and you can see now the big picture, and after that it's just going to be tweaking stuff, getting up to date with the new thing, but you get the whole thing. And even people that I'm dealing with, like I was saying, that are Magento, because they find out that it's much more flexible, open source platform, all this kind of thing, I mean, it costs a lot of money, like this huge platform, and moving just like to Shopify Plus if they're enterprise level, or even like starting, they will see much more benefit. And not only that, they will see how accessible and malleable, and how you can make everything happen. And that's what I've discovered, like I would say, the past couple of months, talking to a bunch of developers, even like today, talking to a bunch of people, what they achieve, basically things that you couldn't think of, and basically that make sense, and they were able to create that and make it happen on Shopify. So we can say long life to Shopify, basically, based on that. And so basically that's it. Tonight, what's happening next is at 8 o'clock, there's this party, because each big event conference, they have like their big party there. And again, it's all about relationship, more contact, be better integrated, because at the end, what we're trying to do is just to serve the community better. That's my goal from day one: serve the community better, finding solution for you, helping you to grow your store in different ways. Sometimes it's not only about like marketing or Facebook ads or things like that, but also to see what would fit with you, or which partner will fit great with you, that will help you to solve a problem, because it's all about problem solving at the end, and having like much more fun to drive what basically is your passion. E-commerce is your passion, is my passion as well. So guys, on that, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for getting on the Shopify group and e-com strategy group, basically, and thank you for hanging out with Phil. So this was another Chill with Phil podcast. Thanks, guy. Ciao.
You've just listened to the Chill with Phil podcast with your host, Phil Kyprianou. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google Play and catch our next episode.